Welcome back to the weekend wrap. No production, just my thoughts. Now, this is actually the third time I'm trying to record this, so I have to apologize from now for the sound. My mic decided that it doesn't want to last, even though it hasn't actually been used in a little while, so that's charging. So yeah, I've just got to use normal audio. I apologize. I know it's not going to be the greatest experience, but it's all I can do for now. But yeah, look, as you can see, I am not in the usual surroundings. I am out and about. I'm away, but this is a weekend that I couldn't miss, and I'm quite happy that I didn't, because yeah, it's been an amazing one. Now I'm going to do a very truncated version of what I said previously, so you may not get everything. Again, I apologize, but time is money. I got to be moving. Okay, starting off with Dublin, Ireland. Unfortunately, Cecilia Brækhus wasn't able to perform. She was ill, I think, Friday night, Saturday morning. So that fight with her and Terry Harper has been moved to the Laura Wood 2 card in Manchester next week. So hopefully that one does come off, because that was the one I was very interested in seeing how it goes. Moving to Gary Cully, unfortunately, he didn't have the homecoming that he was planning. Ended up getting KO'd. I can't remember what round it was, but I think it was round 10 against Mr. Felix. He said, "No, it's not going to be your time," and yeah, it looks like Gary Cully's got to go back to the drawing board. Funny enough, in a video, I can't remember when it was probably like a video towards the very start of the year, I had mentioned that Gary Cully, there's some issues that I see with what he does, and while I like his movement, I like his experience, I like sort of his style, there's a few things that give me some moments of pause, and I'm not, there's issues that I feel are going to get exploited, and I guess this was the fight that happened. But I'm sure he'll bounce back. It won't be the end of the road for him. A loss doesn't define, so we'll see what happens moving forward. All right, Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron. Now, one thing I want to say, I was told that even though obviously Katie Taylor's name is first on the thing, she will be introduced first, and she will walk first, and she will be introduced first in the ring. The fact that all of that changed, I don't know what the reason may have been. I guess, look, it is her homecoming, so she is A-side in all accounts, but I thought that was very disrespectful to Chantel Cameron. She should have walked second. She should have been announced second as the champion, all of that stuff. So I guess it's almost a bit poetic justice that she then destroyed the homecoming by putting on the performance that she did. Now, I actually scored it 95-95. I gave it as a draw, but I am not upset with who won whatsoever. I did predict that Chantel would win via split decision. So them being them, decided to make me just a little bit wrong by making it a majority decision instead. But yeah, there was 2 rounds in there that I gave to Katie, which were quite easily could have been swing rounds. So you could have given them any way you chose. And if that was the case, if they both went the other way, one went the other way, there's 96, 94, 97, 93, which is basically what the scorecards were. 1 95, 95 and 2 96, 94s. Totally correct. The right person won. Katie Taylor made it a lot harder than it needed to be by not using much of a speed and movement as she normally does. Chantel Cameron, she stepped on the pressure. She became a pressure fighter in this fight rather than boxer puncher. Very good at cutting off angles. It was just a very good performance from her. She took a lot more punches than she needed to, but I feel like she took those punches because she knew that she could get off more impactful work and just look better and more dominating to the judges, and ultimately it worked. Katie Taylor says that she wants a rematch. Chantel said, "Well, look, I've been fighting and defending my belts for my last 2 fights. I kind of want to go after someone else's belts right now. So I know that basically meant let's run it back at 135. And I said on the channel with Ade several months ago now, the fight should have been at 135 to begin with all the belts on the line. So I can imagine Katie bringing her down, saying, okay, you want to go to 135? You can do 135, but guess what? your belts are still going to be on the line. I still want to be undisputed at 140, and you can come down and have the opportunity to be two-time undisputed as well. To me, that makes the most sense. That is the biggest fight possible, and that does double the numbers in terms of the gate, in terms of the revenue, everything else in between. So yeah, hopefully that's what basically will happen moving forward. All right, now look, let's move over to the Las Vegas card. Now look, Top Rank, they know how to put on the main event. They know how to put on the pay-per-view. Like, this was an incredible card, like pretty much from start to finish. I didn't even watch the early prelims, or even the sort of the prelims section, apart from Junto Nakatani and Andrew Maloney. And yeah, when I say that Junto Nakatani knows how to close a show, he knows how to close a show. Like, that was devastating, pulling out a punch like that in the last 10 seconds of the 12th round. There was going to be, I guess, some demons by Andrew Maloney's cornerman, because he was talking about Bray taking him out of the fight from the 11th after he got dropped in the 11th round. It wasn't, I mean, he was not really in the fight as such. He wasn't going to win on the scorecards, and it didn't look like he was going to have the power to knock out Junto, so maybe he should have pulled him out. But obviously it's a championship fight, so you're torn. But ultimately, to then see what happened to your guy, then yeah, that's something that's going to be weighing on your mind, you know, moving forward. But look, Junto, he's been a problem, and now he's just, you know, he's getting to that stage where yeah, it's about to get real for for certain other individuals. But yeah, that was a great fight to watch. Outside of that, I didn't see the Muratala and Nakatila fight, as I was in transit between restaurants at the time. I was watching the prelims at a sports bar. But yeah, I got back in time for the start of Adam Lopez and Oscar Valdez. And yeah, that was a nice little entertaining fight as well. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Valdez does next moving forward. He's been out of the ring for like a year and 2 months. I think that's the longest ever layoff he's had, but he looked good. He didn't look like there was too much he had to shake off. So I'm interested just to see sort of how things progress with him, what he does sort of moving forward, if he's going to try and claim any of the belts again at 130. It will be interesting to see what happens. But main event time. I guess this is where the controversy comes in. So I predicted that Devin Haney would win this via majority decision. There would be a draw on one of the cards, but he would get the other two. Again, they decided to make me just a little bit wrong and do me one better, and made it a unanimous decision victory to Devin Haney. So scorecards were 116-112 and then 115-113 times 2. Now, a lot of people saying that they feel that Lomachenko won this fight. Here's what I'll say, and I think Andre Ward said this in the post-fight, his post-fight summary, when they was talking with him, Bradley, Joe Tessitore, and everyone else. And I think this kind of rings most truest to me, that Vasily Lomachenko won the story of the fight, but the story of the fight doesn't account to round by round. So basically what that means is he was building throughout the fight, and you saw, you know, enough work from him whereby it was, you know, close and competitive in certain parts, and he's building to this big crescendo, which basically takes place in rounds 10, 11, and to a lesser extent round 12. And I guess if he had scored a knockdown or a knockout in those fights, then in those rounds you say, okay, so the story was he started to break down this younger guy, took him into deep waters, drowned him, got him out of there. But that's not what happened. So ultimately, you've got Devin Haney, for me, banking a lot of the earlier rounds, even though they were very nip and tuck. Like, there was no rounds that were clean and that were very, very concise to score, apart from rounds 10 and 11. That's the only problem with the entire fight. Like, every other round, there's justifications. I think on one of the commentators, or the like the interviewers actually said that he was scoring the fight, and any round that he thought was close that could have been a swing, he put a circle around it. He said he had 7 circled rounds on his card, which tells you that it can go either way. So it's close. It's not just competitive, it's actually close. Now, for me personally, I scored the first 4 rounds to Devin Haney, but rounds 2 and 3, there was an argument that Loma could have taken those, especially round 3. But for me, I feel like Devin just controlled the majority of them, and I don't think a lot of people are crediting the body work that he done. Like, he invested into Loma's body and was pushing Loma around the ring, having him have to reset, and you could tell that that work was affecting Loma to a degree. Like, I don't think he particularly liked a lot of those shots, and a lot of boxers will tell you they will much rather take head shots than body shots, because the body shots are a lot harder to shake off. And if Loma had have maybe invested in the body a little earlier on in the fight as well, rather than sort of headhunting, thinking he's gonna maybe do the one hitter quitter or the combo to get Devin off his feet, he may have had actually more success later on and possibly stopped Devin later on, just because he need his body's wilted. But I'm trying to remember how I scored the fight. So yeah, I gave the first 4 rounds to Devin. I gave the 5th round to Loma. I gave the 6th round to Devin, and the 7th, and I gave the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th to Loma. So ultimately, I had it scored 115, 113. But again, there's several rounds in there where you could give them either way, and I wouldn't argue. I could definitely have seen a draw, and funnily enough, they said that the judges, every single judge gave Devin Haney the 12th round. And if Loma won the 12th round on all of those cards, then it would have been a majority decision draw. Haney would have won on one card, and it would have been a draw on the other 2. So either way, no matter how you kind of shape it, Devin Haney was gonna remain and keep those belts, provided he stayed on his feet all 12 rounds, which he did. Ultimately, size did play a factor in quite a bit of this fight, because it was taking Loma forever to try and be able to get around Devin's lead leg when he was trying to do his pivots, just because Devin just naturally bigger, but Devin was able to turn with him, that he had the speed. Loma had the much better combinations, and when he was landing shots, like, they were a lot cleaner to the eye, or at least like one shot would be very clean, then you might get 2 others that are a little bit more sort of maybe skimming here or there, when Devin's actually using good head and upper body movement to sort of ride those shots. He's very good at, once he gets hit with one, moving out of the way to stop the others landing flush. Some fighters will literally stay there and just take all 2 and 3, but he's constantly aware, and that's one good thing that I will give him. But generally, in terms of like the heavier shots throughout the night, the more impactful ones, I gotta feel like they went to Devin. That body work that he landed, even that left hook that he landed in the 3rd round, which you saw visibly move Lomachenko, whether that was just a balance thing or not, like, to me those were a lot more telling than sort of Loma jumping in with that corkscrew jab, like snapping Haney's head back at times, or having him in the corner sort of throwing flurries, 1 or 2 landing, but nothing really landing clean. But look, it was an amazing fight. Whoever you felt won the fight is your opinion. I'm not here to dispute that. All I know is I said that Devin was going to win via majority decision, sorry, and he ended up getting a unanimous. I said Chantel Cameron was going to win via split decision, and she won via majority. So yeah, they both just went one stage up each on the list. But credit to both guys. I don't think Devin is going to stick around. Whether it was to fight Shakur or anyone else, I don't know if he's read up that top rank deal. He may have done, but I doubt he has. But even if he has, I see him going to 140. You're even saying afterwards, look, everyone knows how tough it is for me to make this weight. We're going to go back to the team and see what's going on. At the end of the day, if I was him now, I'd keep the belts just to secure my next deal. So, what have you got for me? What have you got for me at 135? What have you got for me at 140? And just pay attention to what the person says they've got for you at 140. As soon as you get that, sign with them and say, I'm moving up. Because, yeah, it's, put it this way, him versus Shakur at 140, like in a couple of years, is a much more competitive fight than him versus Shakur at 135 if that fight takes place. Right now, like, everyone knows I'm a big Haney fan, but Shakur washes him at 135 because he's outgrown that weight class. He's going to be a shell of himself. He was probably a shell of himself now. He's been a shell of himself to me since 2019. He should have naturally moved up. He should probably right now actually be closer to moving to 147 realistically. But yeah, he definitely needs to leave this weight class. Leave it alone. You're undisputed. You've won the belts. You remember, you was a champion. You unified the division. You defended against the previous champion, and now you've defended against most people's consensus number 2 to 3 in the division. You haven't really got anything else to prove there. Yeah, there's Shakur, but ultimately that can be later on down the line. I always say health first, and yeah, healthy is 140. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there because this audio is probably all over the place. Again, I apologize for what's happened. You guys saw that, but that's the weekend wrapped up. I'm gonna see if I can do some other videos later on this week, but if I can't, there will be basis picks and there will be a weekend wrap next week, and we'll keep it moving. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. That's the weekend wrapped up, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.